G'day everyone, my name is Zach, and welcome back to this week's Hobby Highlights and Headlines, a show where we're always 2 thin coats away from a completed model. Jumping straight into it, we have the Hobby Highlights for this week. I was fortunate enough to get a few things done, and fun fact, this is actually the second time that I'm recording this intro. I messed up and formatted my card, so I'm having to do this a second time. So, don't rush things, everyone. Do it properly the first time, and you won't have to deal with this. As for everything that I've painted this week, I started with a couple of Chaos Warriors for this week's video, which I'll leave a link up to in the cards, so if you want to go and check that out. I basically cover really quick and easy army painting, and just a couple of simple techniques that you can master to really bring your models up and save you a lot of time in the long run, not having to futz around with like things like washes or like complex layering or edge highlights and that. You can get very good results by being lazy with your paint jobs, and if you want to see how I did that, go and check that video out, because I'm super proud of it. And I had so much fun recording that video, so yeah, definitely enjoyed it. And it does also kind of give me the idea of like, if I went and took one of those original models and did a couple more like advanced techniques on it, I think I could probably really make it pop. And I think that might be a really good idea for a video, which I might do in the near future. Like sort of ways of making your models pop or taking them to the next level. That might be something worth exploring. Now, I did also buy another printer, and it was another Saturn III Ultra, which, for those who don't know, I had a bunch of dramas with my original one, and I ended up buying a second one after I finally figured out all the kinks and issues with it. So I'm actually really, really loving it. My one complaint, though, is every time I order an Elegoo printer, there is some sort of drama with it. It either takes ages to ship. Like, I'll buy it on like a Friday before the weekend, and like I don't expect it to be dispatched before the weekend, but it gets a Monday, nothing updates, gets to Tuesday, nothing updates, and I'm like, oh, where's my printer? And fortunately enough for me, this one had no tracking updates until the day that it was delivered, which I'm like, fantastic. Because every time I order a printer, the last time I did, I genuinely needed it for my business because my old one was all damaged and everything, and I had to get that all fixed, and I just couldn't print a thing. So I needed that printer that day, and it did not show up. Like, we were home for it, and our postie, who is sometimes very, very lazy, just drove straight past. Like, I put in the thing and everything that we will be home for collection, didn't do it, and they didn't even ring the bell, and I was like, ah. So I had to go to get the printer from the post office. But the second time, we actually legitimately had no one home because the tracking updates did not say a single thing until the day of. And then it just was like, oh, your thing's coming today. And I was like, there's literally no one home. So unfortunately, I feel like I just can't win. And luckily enough, I could pick it up the next morning, which wasn't too bad. But still, kind of just, I wish I had been home for that day. And then I could just had and just set it up instantly and solved all my dramas. But on that note, it also means that my old Photon Mono X 4K is ready to go and free now. So since I'm not using it for the business whatsoever anymore, I can actually start focusing in on and doing a few different 3D printing projects. So keep an eye out for those. I have a bunch of new things planned, and I'm super, super excited to put it to the test. And I really want to see what we can do with like a 3-year-old printer that was like advanced back in the day, but in today's standards just will not cut it in a sense. So yes, keep an eye out for that. I'm super, super excited to start exploring that sort of thing. Now, in personal hobby, I did actually print some Chaos Dwarves, which I don't know if I'm going to do an army project on them. I love Chaos Dwarves, but and could, honest to God, never afford them as a kid, let alone nowadays, because Forge World was expensive back then, and it's still expensive, and I don't think you can buy them whatsoever. I can't say that I've looked, but last time I checked, I don't think Chaos Dwarves were a supported faction, especially in Age of Sigmar. So yes, I printed up a couple of dudes. There's like one little Arabesque guys, and I've got another model that they're from Lost Kingdom Miniatures, and I think it's called like a mercenary or something. It's some sort of character on a 50mm square base, and I'm super keen to paint them up to see what I can do with them, and possibly might start an army project on the channel with them. If you'd like to see that, let me know. I would love to see some comments down below. Like, if you're excited to see me do that, I mean, I'd be more than happy to make a series on it and do some kind of cool painting techniques that make army painting even more fun. So yeah, if that's the sort of thing you'd like to see, make sure you leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Or any other armies that you'd love to see me style. Like, I really want to make it accessible to a lot of people by showing them that, like, if you can't afford maybe Warhammer, you can find proxy models from another website, or even go the route of 3D printing proxies from different companies. So like One Page Rules or Lost Kingdom Minis. Like, there's just so many options out there, and there's the sky is legitimately the limit for these things. Now, I did also print one little squishy dude this week. It's a little kind of like maggot grub thing from the Maggotkin, which are a Necromunda team. And I had a lot of fun painting it. It was just, yeah, super simple model. And I've legitimately had these things in my pile of potential, or pile of shame as some people call it, for nearly 3 years now. And I every now and again, I'll slowly just chip away at it and paint each model using a different technique, because I don't like painting them in the traditional way of like a grub is Darkoath flesh with like a shade of caribou crimson and then you shade it up from that. I was like, no, I'm painting this grub as bone. I want this guy to be made of bone so I can practice those techniques. I like my different blending and just seeing like how different paint styles sort of reflect on different types of models. It more or less gives me an opportunity to practice a couple of techniques or different like paint schemes and try to see how they look on different types of models instead of like traditional use. And I'm pretty happy with how most of them turned out. And if I have enough time, I'll try and put some other videos of the other parts of the squad that I've painted. So yeah, I absolutely love the models, but they're super detailed and there's so many of them to paint. Maybe one day I'll finish them, but for the time being, we'll just add this one model to the completed pile of potential. Moving on to the hobby headlines for this week, we have a bunch of new Games Workshop releases. I know the headlines are always Games Workshop, except for that one time last week when I mentioned Heroes Infinite. But for the most part, it's what I'm passionate about. It's what I keep up with. And there are a ton of cool new releases coming out, or new reveals, I should say. All right, first up for this week, we have the Sunday preview, which brings the Dawnbringers Crusade, book number 5, Shadow of the Crone, which I don't know if this is a new model, but I'll put it up on the screen now. There's this like dark elf lady that I don't remember seeing anywhere, and she could just be an old model that I missed in the previews because I don't really keep up with the Age of Sigmar stuff. But I don't remember seeing her like anywhere whatsoever. A very cool model, very mysterious, and a crow-esque. I think overall she would make an amazing proxy or different model for Yadrusta. I think her name is the Age of Sigmar Stormcast, like female character with like the big wings. I think she would make a really, really good proxy for that if you want to do some grim dark Stormcast. Like that would be a really, really neat idea. I'm probably not going to do it myself, but I think maybe might be something that we explore in the future. Next up, we do also have the Saviors of Cinderfall, which I'm not quite sure where these models come from, but to me, they look new. They could very much possibly be from Cursed City, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure. You've got the lady who's like the Baroness, with like her little cat and everything. You got the Gryph-hound, classic model. That Stormcast model, though, I can already see that just being a major hit with the Golden Demon Army painters. They could just, a lot of good volumes in there, very stoic pose, very Space Marine-y. You know, we always see the Space Marines like that stoic shield up and like sword out, or, you know, like mid kind of ready position. So yeah, I definitely see a lot of painters taking that guy on and giving it a shot. We do also have the dual pistol guy, which I think is pretty cool. It's nice to see the heavy metal painting kind of like a different sort of metallic. It's a very, very green and more maybe not battle worn, but yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's different, and I like it. I quite like what they've done with it. There is also a bunch of spearheads coming out, which I'm not too fussed on. They're basically just the combat patrols for Age of Sigmar, which is kind of cool. I mean, the people looking for them will definitely love them, but not particularly something that I'm interested in. One thing that I do think is very, very cool is the brand new Darkoath Army Set. Now, none of the media is loading for me besides one picture, so I can only see one of these. But there is so many cool models coming out for this, and genuinely, I would love to steal a few of them for my Warriors of Chaos Army, because like I've got a bunch of models that I would love to do some cool stuff with. Like, and these I feel like would fit very, very well in with them. Especially the Wilder Fiend. That thing looks like the coolest Chaos Spawn proxy. And just, I don't know what it's based off, but this model out of the entire set just looks incredible. It's captured that like really chaosy, sickly, demonic vibe, and like they've got like the, you know, like the Arctic monkeys or whatever they are, they do that weird thing with their lip and flip it up and show their teeth. Oh, just, it's very wild and like savage, and I freaking love it. Now, I kind of hope, there is an alternative head, which is very, very cool. So yeah, super detailed model, incredible pose. If I ever design that model, genuinely needs a raise, because that just captures so much of that chaos vibe, and I definitely want to buy them. This is the same feeling that I got with the Mind Stealer's Franks and the I can't remember what the other thing was, the Saigon or the Cyclops thing for Warcry back in the day when those both released. Both of those models inspired such painting confidence in me, and that this is doing the same thing. Like, I can just see so many different styles of paint jobs and things on him, and just like the details are there. So yeah, really excited to hopefully get my hands on that one, and hopefully he's not too expensive. That will remains to be seen. Now, I'm not too fussed on all the other stuff in the kit. Kit basically looks like a bunch of Chaos Marauders. It is nice to see a few female options in there. Games Workshop are incorporating some really cool diversity within the models, which I'm a massive fan of. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's really cool to see a giant regiment of just big muscly men, but the world is not made of men. The world is a combination of men and women in all different portions of society. And it's cool to see them getting a little bit of love in these Darkoath Marauders. Like, I think it's a really cool option. And I could possibly see myself using some of them as proxies for our Marauders in my Age of Sigmar army. I just have to make sure that I pick the ones and pose them in a way that they could actually regiment up and sit in a proper squad. Yes, I'm really excited to see a bit of diversity. It's very cool, because I need to challenge myself painting-wise and paint some alternative things. So yeah, very much looking forward to those guys. Now, we do also have the cutest models ever in the form of this little Blood Bowl team. Now, I don't know what it is about Blood Bowl, but whatever specialist design studio they have on it, they must be having the time of their life. Like, we have this cool-ass little guy with like a fishing rod sort of mechanism and a football. And then we also have the infamous goose. We finally know where that goose is coming from, and I kind of just want to buy this entire kit because, first and foremost, Gnomes are fun to paint. They're just little guys doing their thing, and they have so much character to them. Like, the Blood Bowl team is genuinely pushing the boundaries of what you can do with these models and trying some very, very dynamic stuff. And I'm super impressed with what they've done so far, and definitely see myself picking up a squad of these. Like, I originally picked up the Grot kit, the Snotlings, I think they were, with like their pup weight and everything, to use as bits for my old Soul Boys army when that used to be a thing. But alas, I've given all that away, so I kind of sold them. But there's so many Blood Bowl models that I want to paint, but such little time. Now, there is a couple new releases from the Warhammer Anniversary, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty impressed with the majority of them. But the one, I'll talk about it firstly, the Custodes model. Now, no offense against the person who designed this, because they probably put their heart and soul into it. But I'm not a massive fan. I just think it looks so weird. Like, first and foremost, the model is super chunky, which I get they were trying to go for the vibe of, like, it is this big stoic model who is just, you know, in this massive power armor and everything. But to me, it just misses. And I don't exactly know what it is. Maybe it's just the fact that, like, I'm not a Custodes player, and it more or less just looks like every other Custodes character and model out there. Like, it's a guy pointing a spear, which is cool. Like, he really does not stand out from the rest of the crowd. So, like, I guess a kind of cool model, but really doesn't do much for me. However, one model that I am super, super excited for is the new Big Mek boy, which I kind of hope this isn't replacing the old kit. I actually love the old Mek boy kit. I think it's super fun and full of character. This guy looks like a massive big boss, and he's got so many little parts on him, and as cool as it is, he looks like a pain in the ass to paint. I hate to say it, but there's so much detail on here that, like, I'm kind of getting lost. And I have also noticed that there's a lot of models in the Ork range nowadays, Ulfdeck Blackhawk, that are standing in that, like, side profile, sort of arm backwards, pointing, like, in that engaged position, which is very cool, but I don't know, a lot of models I have noticed recently have been doing that, and yeah, I don't know if it's just, like, the way that they want to go with these models, and maybe it's just, it makes them the most visually stunning out of everything, but yeah, not quite sure how to feel about the pose, but overall the model looks really cool. I just don't want to paint it because it looks like a chore. It's just too much detail. So yeah, overall, pretty cool model. Loving the big shock attack gun behind him and all the other stuff that's around him. But yeah, probably not something that I'll pick up. And if I do, it'll most likely take me weeks or months to paint with all the little details and everything. Let's jump into this week's hobby hero. This week's hobby hero is Henry from the Cult of Paint, which, if you haven't heard of them before, they're basically a YouTube channel and commission painting studio that does a bunch of really, really fun videos. They more or less have army painting down to a fine art and know exactly what they're doing. And just basically every model that they paint, doesn't matter how much, how long or how little time they put into it, they just know exactly what to do to make everything pop. And I'm really impressed with the majority of stuff that they do. Like, I personally have used their, a good example is their albino lizardman skin. I took the majority of that and used it on my own Lord on Carnosaur that I did. And yeah, they just make painting tutorials very accessible to a wide range of people, and I really appreciate what they do. And they inspire me to paint armies better and quicker. That's why I like doing the techniques that I do, because I want things to look good, but I don't want things to look like I've rushed them. So yeah, definitely check them out. As always, I'll leave the links down in the description to all the different stuff. And let me know what you think. If you do actually have a hobby hero for yourself, I'd love to know who inspires you to keep hobbying. And leave a comment down below, and I might go and check them out as well. And maybe, just maybe, they could be my own hobby hero for the week. So yes, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear who you guys aspire to be or look up to. And yeah, don't forget to share them. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go and re-record the intro of this video. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. And I appreciate every single one of you being here. Make sure to leave a like on this video if you did indeed enjoy it. And don't forget to subscribe, because we have just smashed 700 subscribers, which is, I think we got 100 in nearly 2.5 weeks, which absolutely blew my mind as per usual. You guys are absolutely insane, and I can't wait to see so many friendly new faces join the community. So I shall cut my rambling off, and until next time, ladies and gentlemen, happy hobbying, and I'll see you later. Bye.